Have you ever had the feeling that the world isn't exactly what it seems? As if everything around you, walls, objects, people, even time itself, were following a script that only feels solid because no one has dared to question it? What if I told you that this solidity is an illusion? That what we call real is just a consensual version of what your mind accepts as truth? You touch a table, and it pushes back. But at the atomic level, it's mostly empty space. Electrons spinning in clouds of probability. Molecules that never truly touch. Pure vibration. Frequency. And yet, you feel firmness. Because your brain needs you to feel it. You need to believe there's ground beneath your feet. That time is linear. That the other is the other, and not a reflection of something pulsing inside you. But what if all of this is just a reflection of your own creation? What if reality only arises after you look? What if the world you see isn't shaped by matter, but by your consciousness? If you still think the world is real on its own, just wait until you see this. Because after what comes next, you might never see the world the same way again. You might start to notice, not with your eyes, but with your body, that everything that feels external begins within you. And what you call reality is merely the echo of what you believe to be true. Are you ready to look beyond the veil? Have you ever heard of the double-slit experiment? Maybe yes, maybe no. But what it reveals is so profound, so unsettling, that it should be the starting point for any conversation about what is or isn't real. Picture this. A stream of particles, electrons for example, is fired toward a barrier with two slits. Behind that barrier, a screen records the impact points of each particle. When no one is observing, the electrons behave like waves. They interfere with each other. They create patterns that only appear when multiple possibilities exist at the same time. But when someone chooses to observe the experiment, everything changes. The electrons now behave like particles, as if, by being watched, they decide on a single trajectory. The simple act of observation collapses the wave of possibilities into a single reality. The universe, it seems, does not reveal itself on its own. It waits for the observer's gaze. And this, in quantum physics, isn't poetry, it's data. But doesn't that remind you of something else? Something more familiar? The placebo effect. You take a sugar pill, believing it's a powerful medication. And, surprisingly, your body responds. It heals. The pain fades. Recovery speeds up. What healed you? The substance? It was the belief. Your body responded to what you believed was happening. In other words, what you perceive as reality depends deeply on what you expect from reality. The observer creates, and the body believes. Modern physics and psychosomatic medicine are saying the same thing in different languages. Reality is shaped by consciousness. It's not the world imposing itself on you. It's you who, by looking at it, transforms it. Where you place your focus is where the universe begins to condense. And if you doubt that, ask yourself, why do some people seem to attract what they want, while others stay stuck in cycles that never change? Maybe it's not luck. Maybe they're just observing different realities, unknowingly creating their own paths. And this is where true power begins. The power to understand that you're not trapped by what is. You are constantly creating what will be. Now that you understand reality isn't something fixed, but rather a field of possibilities in constant collapse, an inevitable question arises. How, then, can you consciously create reality? The answer begins with three elements. Three forces that, when aligned, transform vibration into matter, thought into a path, desire into experience. This is the triad of materialization. 1. Clear intention. Everything begins with intention. It's not just about wanting, it's about choosing with clarity, giving internal form to what you desire, even before seeing any external evidence. Intention is the vibrational seed. It sets the pattern for the reality you're about to generate. And like any seed, it needs fertile ground. It needs to be chosen with presence. If you think, I want to be free, but feel fear all the time, the field responds to the fear, not the words. Intention must be anchored in coherence between thought and emotion. Only then does it have the power to move through the quantum field. 2. Active observation. After intention comes the gaze that shapes. The world responds to what you observe with presence. And here's the key: observing is not passively watching. To observe is to direct energy. When you look at something with conscious attention, you don't just see, you influence, affect, alter. Science has already shown that particles respond to observation. And the same happens in daily life. When you expect something, truly expect it, the world around you starts to respond. You notice coincidences, signs, people showing up out of nowhere. But nothing comes from nowhere. Active observation is like a lighthouse. It tells the field, this is what I've chosen to see. And the field responds. 3. Concrete action. And here is where many fail. They think that just imagining is enough. It's not. Quantum reality is moved by vibration, yes, but it's also grounded in physical movement. Action is the final step that anchors possibility into the material world. It's like telling the universe, I believe in this so deeply, I act as if it's already real. That action doesn't have to be grand. It can be subtle, but it must exist. Without action, intention becomes a vague wish, and observation becomes frustrated expectation. The triad is only complete when you intend with clarity, observe with presence, and act with coherence. It's in that moment that reality begins to shape around you, like clay in the hands of someone who doesn't just think, but knows. Have you noticed that everything you've truly created in your life involved these 3 forces? Even without realizing it, you've already used this triad. The difference is now you'll be able to do it consciously. You've seen this happen, even if you called it coincidence, even if you said it was luck. But now, with new eyes, you'll begin to realize that what seemed like chance was creation. Let's start with science. Example 1. Joe Dispenza and quantum neuroplasticity. Joe Dispenza, neuroscientist and researcher of human behavior, studied hundreds of cases of people who healed from so-called irreversible diseases, not with medication, but with a powerful combination of visualization, elevated emotion, and heart coherence. These people created, every day, the vibrational feeling of a healed body. They didn't wait for healing to feel good. They felt good before healing arrived. And the body responded, as if it were simply following a new program. That's neuroplasticity. But it's also quantum collapse. Thought creates new circuits. Emotion activates new chemical signals. Belief generates the biology of change. And the body adapts to what the mind has decided to live. Example 2. The monk and the rain. In many spiritual traditions, creating reality is a daily art. Once, a monk was asked how he managed to make it rain during ancient rituals. The question came with skepticism, expecting a mystical or metaphorical answer. But his reply was simple. I don't ask for rain. I enter the state of someone who is already living the rain. I feel the smell of wet earth, the sound of raindrops falling, and then that comes. He didn't beg. He accessed. He didn't say, I want. He said, I am the one in the rain. That's active observation. Emotional coherence. It's the morphogenetic field responding to vibration. Example 3. Collective Intention Experiments, Global Consciousness Project. Did you know there's data showing that collective human consciousness can affect physical devices? The Global Consciousness Project, out of Princeton University, set up random number generators around the world. They're designed to produce chaotic, unpredictable sequences. But during major global events, terrorist attacks, tsunamis, the deaths of public figures, these machines stop behaving randomly. The patterns shift, as if the mental field of humanity collapses the randomness into a collective emotional state. This isn't just curious. It's evidence. Evidence that the human mind has enough vibrational weight to alter matter. Example 4. Masaru Emoto's water experiments. Masaru Emoto, a Japanese researcher, photographed water crystals exposed to different words, music, and intentions. Words like love and gratitude formed symmetrical, beautiful crystals. Words like hate or fear created distorted shapes. Water responded to vibration. And considering your body is 70% water, have you ever imagined what happens inside you when you repeat or hear certain words? Or when you deeply believe in something? You are field. You are observer. And everything around you is a mirror of what you vibrate. These examples aren't here to impress you. They're here to remind you that you are already creating reality all the time. The question is, will you keep creating on autopilot or start doing it with presence? Imagine for a moment that reality is like a mirror, but a mirror that doesn't reflect what's in front of you, but what's inside you. And what's inside you is largely hidden. There, in the layers you don't easily access, lives the true architect of your life, your subconscious. You might wake up in the morning with the intention to be happy. You might look in the mirror and say, today will be a good day. But if, deep somewhere in your mind, there's a belief that you don't deserve joy, what do you think will manifest? The subconscious doesn't follow what you say. It follows what you silently believe to be true. And here's the unsettling part. 95% of your mental activity comes from it. You may think you're in control, but the one coding your perceived reality is backstage. How does it do that? Through perceptual filters. What you see, hear, and interpret passes through layers formed in childhood, in your traumas, in your family, cultural, and emotional beliefs. If you grew up hearing that the world is dangerous, your subconscious will keep you on alert. It will show you threats before possibilities. It will sabotage opportunities, even if you say you want to grow. If you learned that love hurts, your subconscious will attract relationships that hurt. Because to it, that feels familiar, that feels safe, that feels true. You might even want a new life. But if your subconscious is coding the opposite, you'll live on loop. A cycle where you change the outside, but nothing really changes. Because the root is somewhere else. And the most surprising part? The subconscious doesn't distinguish between real and imagined. If you relive a trauma or imagine a painful scenario, the same neural circuits are activated. Likewise, if you visualize something positive with strong enough emotion, your body responds as if it were already real. Your nervous system aligns with the new vibration. Your energy field shifts, and little by little, what's inside begins to leak outward. Perceived reality isn't what is. It's what you believe is possible. That's why lasting change must happen from the inside out. There's no use memorizing positive affirmations if your unconscious is still running on guilt, fear, or scarcity. You have to reprogram the source code. You have to speak the language of the subconscious, deep emotion, repetition, and symbolism. And when that happens, reality begins to respond differently. Because the mirror changes when the internal reflection does. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Now imagine a scene you've never actually lived, but somehow it feels like it belongs to you. You're standing before an open field, the sky is clear, and a warm breeze gently brushes your face. You're not afraid. You're not uncertain. You simply know, in that moment, everything is exactly as it should be. Now, notice what happens in your body. Maybe your shoulders relax. Maybe the air flows in a little easier. Maybe a shiver runs across your skin for no apparent reason. That's your body responding to vibrational creation. Even though it didn't actually happen, your body lived that experience. Because the body doesn't need facts. It needs signals. And vibration is a signal. Every time you enter an emotional state, fear, joy, guilt, love, your body receives the message. Every cell listens and acts accordingly. Now imagine you're constantly living in a state of lack. The body prepares for scarcity. Your heart beats faster. Your gut tightens. Your skin hardens. You get sick even if nothing is physically wrong. But if you begin placing yourself in the vibrational state of abundance, even before seeing any external results, the body starts reorganizing its physiology for something that hasn't happened yet. It's like walking in the dark with a flashlight. The light moves ahead and the body follows, trusting that there's ground beneath each step. Now, hear this closely. Your body is the first to know when you change. And it's also the first to sabotage you if you lie to yourself. It feels incoherence. If you say, "I'm fine," but your heart is on high alert, the body doesn't believe you. That's why creating reality is a process that must pass through the body. You have to involve your senses, visualizing, yes, but also hearing, feeling, touching, imagining tastes, movements, temperatures. You need to smell the new reality. You need to let the body get used to it before it exists. That's the secret the great masters knew. It's not about forcing reality. It's about teaching it to your body. And once the body understands, the field responds. Because reality is like a dance. And the body is always the first to move. Now that you understand the principles, it's time to live them. Knowing isn't enough. You need to feel. This practice was designed to activate the 3 pillars of conscious creation: clear intention, active observation, and symbolic action. You can do it with your eyes open or closed. But if you can close your eyes, take a deep breath and allow yourself to enter this space. Clear intention, the vibrational seed. Breathe and bring to mind something you want to create. Not something vague, something alive. See it, feel it, give it shape, give it a name. Don't say, "I want to be happy." Say, "I choose to live a peaceful life with a light-hearted home, surrounded by people who love me." Feel that choice in your body. Imagine it's not in the future. It's happening now. How do you feel inside that reality? Where in your body does that sensation arise? Maybe in your chest, maybe in your belly, maybe a warmth in your face. Hold on to that. That's the signal. That's the code. That's the seed. Active observation, the gaze that shapes. Now, with that reality in your mind, Begin to look at it as if you're seeing it for the first time. With curiosity, with presence, see the colors, the environment, the people, the light. Touch the objects, feel the temperature, the aroma around you, the distant sound, or the meaningful silence. This is your world. You're in it not as a visitor, but as a creator. Feel the power of observing this as real. The more detail you bring, the more the field organizes itself. The more presence you offer, the more the universe responds. Symbolic action, the gesture that anchors. Now place your hand over your heart, or press your feet firmly to the ground, or write an invisible word with your fingers. Any gesture your body can recognize as a vibrational anchor. This gesture is your energetic signature. It's the symbol that this reality has already begun to exist. Every time you repeat this gesture, your body will remember, and the vibration will return. You will access that frequency effortlessly, because now it's part of you. Take one last deep breath, and as you exhale, repeat inwardly, I observe, I feel, I act, and reality responds. Gently open your eyes and carry the echo of this practice with you. You've just given form to possibility. Now, it's no longer just a wish. It's a signal in the field, an active code, a reality in motion. Have you ever noticed that sometimes life seems to respond to you? You think of someone and they show up. You feel something, and that same day, something happens that confirms that feeling. You decide to change, and the world begins to shift with you. That's not coincidence. That's resonance with the field. Everything around you vibrates. Everything within you vibrates. And that vibration forms a kind of energetic signature projected into the field around you, what many call the quantum field or non-local consciousness. But what does that mean in practice? It means you are not isolated. Your mind is not an island. Your thoughts aren't locked inside your skull. They spread, they connect, and more importantly, they interact with the invisible web that holds reality together. The field is alive. You're not living in a passive universe. You're living within a living consciousness. And this consciousness responds to your vibration with the same logic as a mirror. It doesn't judge, it doesn't interpret, it simply reflects. If you vibrate scarcity, it returns absence. If you vibrate gratitude before the manifestation, it delivers abundance. If you vibrate fear, it shows you reasons to be afraid. Not because it punishes you, but because it is you. Quantum consciousness is the ocean. Your mind is the wave, and you get to choose the shape your wave takes. Coherence, the access portal. To consciously connect with this field, you need to enter vibrational coherence. What does that mean? It means that what you think, what you feel, and what you do must be aligned. If you say you want a new life, but act from the same old fears, the field receives a split frequency and reflects confusion. But when there is coherence, when you desire with clarity, feel with depth, and act with presence, the field responds immediately, sometimes with signs, sometimes with opportunities, sometimes with silences that show you what still needs cleansing. But it always responds. Science and spirituality side by side. Greg Braden, author and spiritual science researcher, describes the quantum field as an intelligent energy matrix that responds to human emotion. Rupert Sheldrake speaks of morphogenetic fields, invisible structures that store information and behavior, influencing everything from cell development to collective behavior. And ancient mystics have known this for millennia. What they called the Akasha, the Great Spirit, the sacred void, was this very living consciousness, this field of infinite possibilities that shapes the visible from the invisible. And now you're starting to remember that you're not here just to exist. You're here to co-create, and the reality around you is just the first draft. You've made it this far, and now something inside you is no longer the same. Because once you see reality as possibility, once you understand that the world isn't fixed but malleable, you can no longer live as if you're just a spectator. You are the author. You are the observer that gives shape. And the universe is a canvas waiting for your gesture. But here's the final truth. Nothing is real until you do this. Until you set your intention with clarity. Until you observe with presence. Until you act with coherence. Nothing takes form. Nothing holds. Nothing manifests. Life will remain a blurry reflection of your inner distractions. But when you do this, when you embrace the triad, the world changes. Not from the outside in, but from the inside out, as it was always meant to. So here's my challenge to you. Today, right now, choose something small, but real. Something you want to manifest. And apply everything you've learned here. Set your intention as if it were already true. Visualize with your active senses, not just your mind. Take one symbolic, concrete action, no matter how small, and then watch the field respond. Watch the world reorganize. Watch the coincidences appear. The signs multiply. The answers arrive from where you least expect it. Don't take my word for it. Try it. Because only then will you understand, in practice, that reality isn't out there. It's in here. And what you choose to do with that power is what will define what is real for you. Because at the end of the day, nothing is real until you do this.